Hey guys, welcome to LaughNapkin. Today I'll be reading a few top stories from r/MaliciousCompliance. If you're new to this channel, be sure to subscribe for dailies. Now let's get into it. Sorry, you won't be getting the supervisor position. Why aren't you doing the supervisor work? So I worked for a company for a few years, got turned down for every promotion, but was still expected to do the extra work because they stopped scheduling anyone to do it. And I thought it would make me look better if I just did it. Covering breaks, checking logs, safety walks, etc. We had 3 department managers who only worked during the day, and a supervisor for the mid-shift, but no management at night. A position opened up for the job, and I put in for it. But then it was closed because of labor and budget issues, and lack of applications. A few weeks later, they complained that I wasn't doing enough production, and needed to focus more on my work. So eventually, I just stopped doing the extra work and let the department fall to pieces. We got pinged from the regional manager for missing too many safety walks. We got pinged by health and safety for not having properly filled logs. Customers complained about lack of service due to employees being on breaks. Management flipped out and said that this would probably prevent me from getting a promotion in the future. When I asked why, they told me that these were part of my job duties. The conversation went as follows. But you told me to focus on productivity, not any extra duties. These are part of a supervisor role, not mine. You've been doing them for months now. Why did you just stop? You told me to focus on production. Well, until we find someone to work at night, they have to be covered. Wow, so one of the managers will have to close every night? That's rough. Come on, we're all a team. You can help us out, right? Sorry, I'm not comfortable doing extra duties beyond my role without proper training and compensation. Throw your tray? Okay, be annoyed. Okay guys, this just happened a few days ago. I work at a hospital as a room service ambassador and work on the surgical floor. One day I found out while I was off, a Karen was admitted to the hospital. She supposedly was very rude and demanded 5 entrees on her tray, 4 sides, and 3 desserts on each of her meal trays. She would throw the whole tray on the floor and would loudly complain if there was even a packet of sugar missing. One day, it made one of my fellow ambassadors cry. So when I heard of this, I had to see for myself. She was skinny and ate everything on the tray. She was also on a calorie-restricted diet, but the nurses didn't want to hear her complain, so they just let her have it. Well, I saw thy lady herself, and she was indeed skinny and not how I was expecting her to look like. Well, after testing around and forgetting an orange juice on her tray, she threw the tray on the ground in front of me. See, she was in a contact room, which meant we had to wash our hands down and glove up. Not only that, but we had to ask her for her name and date of birth. Malicious compliance mode engaged. Well, I saw this as an opportunity and bought her up another tray, this time syrup missing on the tray. I gowned up and gloved up slowly in front of her doors so she could see me. Then I went in with my best ambassador voice and a big smile and said, "Name and date of birth, ma'am?" Which she grunted, annoyed, and said her name and date of birth. Then I said, "Do you want the tray over you or on the side?" Then she says, "Over me, you idiot!" So I complied and did so. She saw the missing syrup and threw the tray on the ground. Then I looked and said, "Oops, forgot the syrup, guess I'll get you another tray." So I went and got her the same tray, of course, without the pepper on it. I went up, put the gown on slowly, turned towards her with a smile, and said, "I'll be with you shortly," then gloved up. Then I said, "Oops, forgot to wash my hands," proceeded to take off the gloves and gown and wash my hands, went back and put the gloves and gown on again. I could just see the fury in her eyes when I went into her room. "Name and date of birth, ma'am." Then she said, "You just asked me that question. You should know by now. Now give me the damn food." Then I said, "I can't give you the tray until you give me your name and date of birth." She says, "Fine," and gave me the info. Then she saw the pepper was missing, but didn't say anything. Then I said, "Do you want it over you or on the side?" She said, "Over," and I did so. Then I said, "Have a good morning," and took off my gown, glove, and sanitized out of the room. She never complained about her trays again. I have many other stories, but this one I'm most proud about. Want me to fly to another state to pick up my kids? I'll take them back with me. So my mother is usually a very calm and understanding person who will take a lot of stuff without complaining. But when she gets angry, she won't hesitate to bring up some sweet malicious compliance. My father, meanwhile, is the definition of an irritable mess who loves being extremely petty. And it's a good thing he and my mother aren't married anymore, because I don't know how she ever stood him. This particular incident happened 2 years ago. So my parents were finishing up a custody trial. My father was losing the trial and he wasn't happy about it. He decided in the summer of 2017 to try and get back at my mother by taking a long vacation that goes through one of her weekends in the summer. Me and my sisters find this out fairly quickly as the summer begins, and we tell our mother, who texts my father thinking he made a mistake. The conversation went something like this. Mom, are you taking the kids out to beach town from this date to that date? Yes, I am. You know I have a weekend during that time, right? Well, if you want to have them, you can come pick them up and do whatever you want with them. What I'm doing is perfectly legal and within the law, as we have to pick up the kids when it's our time. Surprisingly, he was right. My mother was done talking to him at that point and said nothing more on the matter. She told us to enjoy our vacation at Beach Town. So we spent a couple of days at the town, and we've been to this place like half a dozen times, so we're kind of bored. And my father only likes it because he bought a summer home there and he knows the people there and sometimes goes out to the bar alone at night with my stepmother. Eventually, the weekend comes around, and at 6 p.m., the time when a parent is supposed to pick up, my mother shows up at the beach house. My father is shocked, and she asks for the kids, stating that she has rented a hotel room and she has clothes for us. We take a ride with her in the cab back to the hotel that she stayed at overnight, but she only packed 2 bags and only 1 set of clothes for us, which is odd as we're supposed to be here until Monday morning. Then she takes out her airplane tickets. We're taking the next flight home. Not one of us wants to stay, of course. We're pretty tired of going to this place anyways, and we don't tell our father or stepmother. We fly home, and when Monday rolls around, my father is calling to ask where the kids are. My mother answers and tells him they're back at home, and that if he wants to have them, he can come pick them up. My father is screaming over the line at this point, and my mother calmly tells him this is perfectly legal and within the law, repeating back to him what he texted her at the beginning of the summer. My father spends the rest of the vacation alone in Beach Town. I hope he enjoyed it with my stepmother, since neither he nor my grandparents, the only other people who can take us in his name, are in town. Custody laws state that we instead spend that time with our mother. During that free week she got with us, we went to the amusement park and saw a few movies. Overall, we enjoyed that spectacle and time with our mother more than going to Beach Town for the umpteenth time. Try to scam a free upgrade? Get an upgrade to the worst room possible. Backstory: years ago, I worked at a hotel located right on the beach. So many people always come in and try to run a scam to be upgraded to the beachfront all the time. Please note, if you have thought about how to scam someone, there are a lot of others who probably have already done this before you. Front desk staff are not stupid idiots who don't know how to read when a customer is full of crap. Again, as this hotel is beachfront, there are 3 types of rooms overall. Beachfront is the most expensive, side and then city view, which is the cheapest, as some don't want to spend the extra money for a view. Let's meet the cast. Boss, me, jerk customer. Working graveyard shift one night, I see someone booked a city view room. As we are dead, front desk staff can do free upgrades if they choose. I see this reservation and think, hey, I'm going to be nice and give them a free upgrade to the side and block them into a room on the 9th floor. The 9th floor is the highest we have, except the 10th floor, which is the penthouse level. I move jerk customer over closest to the beach. Jerk customer will have a great view. The jerk customer walks in and immediately tells me he has a beachfront view room booked. Now, for those of you that don't work in a hotel, No one ever says this. They always say I have a room reserved. So immediately I know jerk customer is lying. I say, sorry sir, you booked a city view room. Jerk customer tells me no, he booked a beachfront. And I explain that a beachfront will be more expensive. Jerk customer replies that no, he was quoted this much and that's all he will pay. Enter malicious compliance. I tell him, okay, I can upgrade you to the side. Jerk customer replies with, that's acceptable. This is strike 2. Now I truly know he's lying. As if he truly booked a beachfront, this would not have been acceptable. I change his room to the second floor, and closest to the city as I can make it. This room was the absolute worst room we had, and the last one we ever used. The only time someone got booked into this room was when we sold out, and no other choices were available. Instead of seeing a beach, he now has a wonderful view of our generator. Boss came in early that morning. I explained if he gets a complaint from jerk customer, this is what happened. I told him what room number I was going to put him in, to which boss goes, you were being incredibly nice. As I finish telling him the story, boss asks, so where did you put him? Boss knows I would never be nice to a jerk as I had a reputation for malicious compliance on many occasions. I tell boss the room number and he immediately knew what I did to jerk customer and falls out of his chair laughing so hard. Boss says, this is why I keep you around, entertainment value. No one but you would ever have thought to do this to a jerk customer. Boss continues saying, the best part is he thinks he scammed us and he screwed himself. If jerk customer would have just shut up, jerk customer would have had a great room. Now jerk customer has the worst room possible. Boss tells me later that jerk customer never did come down to complain. Moral of the story, if you're being a jerk, I will gladly give you the jerk upgrade. Dad forces my sister to drive him everywhere while visiting. Drives him to the most expensive restaurant in town. This happened a few weeks ago. My dad lives across the country from my sister. She recently graduated high school and he came out to visit. It's important to note that he's never really been good to her. My sister is immediately met with many commands. My dad said she must drive him home from the airport to his hotel, then pick him up the next day and get dinner after graduation, along with some other things not important to the story. My sister and mom share a car. When asked how exactly my mom is meant to get around, he replies, she can just Uber. My dad pulls a fun surprise and flies in a day early. My sister, who has been sick and running a fever, had to pick him up unexpectedly and go out to eat. At this point, my mom was mad. She offered to do something about it, but my sister calmly said no thanks. She proceeded to ask all of her friends what the most expensive restaurant in the city is. I won't give away anything too revealing, but this was in a pretty well-off Midwestern city, a really nice part at that. So you can imagine the results her wealthy friends presented her. So she picks him up and goes to the restaurant where there isn't a single entree item under $75. She orders the most expensive steak entree on the menu with a loaded potato and truffle mac and cheese as sides. Both costing extra, by the way. She goes home with plenty of delicious food, and he goes home with a $400 hole in his pocket. Edit. For everyone asking how my dad could afford the dinner but not an Uber, I think you pointed out exactly what makes him such an a-hole. To clear up any confusion, he has plenty of money. Not FU money or anything, but most certainly enough to Uber around for 2 days. It wasn't about if he could afford it, it was about him just being narcissistic. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Big shout out to everyone that is subscribed to this channel, as you're the ones making these daily videos possible. See you guys in the next video.